Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here live with me tonight and also watching the replay. I have this only streaming here on YouTube so that we can be in control of many trolls since this is like a really sensitive topic. And let me just give a disclaimer, and I'm gonna give this disclaimer again. If you're expecting me to sound like Candace Owens, you go ahead and give me my thumbs down now and get the hell off of my channel. So we're gonna go ahead and just put that out up front. Shout out to Brother Daryl. I'm gonna go ahead and make you a moderator just in case we get some trolls or those who want to come over and just act a fool. I'm not on it. I tried to record this video and then edit it and upload it later, but it just didn't work. I also tried to do some other videos in the meantime while I was processing my emotions because of this story, of this incident that happened over in Brunswick, Georgia, but it's just that I couldn't totally give myself to any other projects until I kind of got this off my chest. So thank you so much for being here with me tonight, Brother Daryl. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and make you a moderator, and I appreciate you always being here, Sister Cassandra. How are you? Like I said, with this story here, I had to like get my emotions in check. And shout out to Brother Chris Miller. Shout out to him for making a video that I shared on my Facebook page. I watched his video earlier, and he gave some great advice on not arguing with people, just really being chill and not getting baited into certain stuff. But I took some time out to kind of watch how people were reacting. I even interacted with a couple of people. Like I tried to stay, right in the middle and just engage and see where certain people's minds were. And it really surprised me. A lot of the reactions and how some people, and I don't have my microphone plugged in. So yeah, can y'all hear me okay? We'll go ahead and plug in my microphone. Just realized I didn't have. There we go. So yeah, let me know if you can hear me a little bit better, okay? But yeah, what was kind of surprising is that a lot of the people that kind of, I don't know, just really took this approach to be the judge, jury, and executioner for the victim off top. And these are people who, many of them are in law enforcement. And I'm like, whoa, okay, yeah. And it really surprised me, how people are so quick to make a decision to judge somebody with something without knowing the total picture. And so, if you don't know, now you know. My background. I was a patrol police officer for 6 years. Okay, so I encountered a lot of calls for a suspicious person, trespassing. I did some time in investigations, and now that I have my, I don't know, those glasses are off, and I have my civilian perspective. I get to see like, wow, there is some people who do not need to be in law enforcement or even represented at all. Because if you're so quick to, just go 0 to 100, judge, jury, executioner, and just like, okay, you're guilty on the spot versus you're innocent till proven guilty, that's a big problem. I'm gonna start this out with the story. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's here. Really appreciate you. But we're gonna start this out with the story. When I was in patrol, I was in Virginia, and I had to work. What was it? Hurricane Irene. Hurricane Irene happened like 2011, I think. 2011. That's when Hurricane Irene happened, and I had to work it. Correct me if I'm wrong. So let me know. It was 2010 or 2011, but I had to work it. We had 13-hour shifts while the hurricane is happening. My house is getting tore up, but I'm out patrolling, directing traffic, looking for fallen trees, protecting everybody else's property, whatever. So when I got off, like I finally got a day off. I think I worked like 8 days in a row. Finally got. You said my volume is low. I'll bring it up a little bit closer. Let me know if that's better. Thank you so much, Joshua. Let's see. Okay, hopefully that fixed that problem. Okay, voice low. Is this better? Let me know if this is better. Okay. Um, yeah. So I worked like 8 days straight, And when I finally got a chance to go home and assess the damage to my own home, my fence, my privacy fence had fell down. I had shingles off the roof. My outside security lights, those went out. I had water in my wall, and just things got messed up. So a couple days later, I had took off some more time off to fix up my house, and so I had to change out a carpet. So it was late. I was changing out this carpet. I had pulled up the old carpet, pulled up the everything down to the subfloor, and I was putting some primer on some areas before I put down the carpet and the padding. Yeah, I do all that. And let me know if my volume is good. If not, I'm sorry, I went mute again. Is that better? Let me know if that's better, okay? I'm sorry. Mute had came on. I think mute had happened when I plugged up my microphone. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I'm going to start over. So like I said, I'm going to start out with the story. Like I said, I was in Virginia working as a police officer during Hurricane Irene. So as I was working a hurricane, 13-hour days, sometimes overtime if I had a late arrest. But when I finally got off after working like 8 days straight to assess the damage to my own house, get power back on, make my insurance claim, I had to change out one of the carpets in one of the bedrooms. So you said that's better. Okay. But as a result of the damage, my privacy fence had fell, and my neighbor, her fence was still up, but my fence was down. My outside security lights were off, and yeah, it was just a mess. So this one particular evening, I was putting down carpet in the room. I had pulled up the old carpet, pulled up the padding, and finally got everything working. So my neighbor calls me, my neighbor right next door. She calls me. She's like, "Hey, do you have company?" I'm like, "No, it's just me, my son, and we just here." She's like, "There's a guy in your backyard." I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Nobody is supposed to be here in my backyard." And I realized that my house had been completely black. It had been completely dark for like over a week. And I'm like, so I look out the window and I see someone, it's like a shadow. They're just walking through my backyard, walk over my fence, and I see the head like just going through my windows. I'm like, whoa, is somebody here? And he starts going down the street. And so immediately, like, I stayed in my house, but I'm like, look at the windows because my son is in his room sleeping. And I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody's out here in my yard. I get on the phone, I call the police. I'm off duty, you know? And I gave a description like, hey, this is this person. They're in my backyard. They're not supposed to be here. I did not invite them, and they're headed this direction. And what they told me was that it was currently a search party in the area. They were looking for a lost autistic child. And I'm like, no way, this has nothing to do with that. This person was just in my yard. I don't know what they were doing. I did not invite them. Of course, I identify myself. I'll be a police officer. This is my home, but this person is not supposed to be here. And they just kind of chucked up and said, like, hey, they're part of the search party for the lost autistic child. And I'm like, I was kind of like, this person is not part of, like, they had no flashlight, nothing. They were by themselves. So shout out to the officer that responded that was on duty. He follows me on Instagram. I see you play it, so you can give us a message. But I see you. He actually responded, and he went to go and do what was called a field interview. He identified the person and said, "Hey, what was your business of cutting through the yard? Let me let you know, the yard you cut through was a police officer, and of course, my police car was outside." And his excuse for cutting through my yard was that he didn't want to walk all the way around to get to the main road that he wanted to get to. He just wanted to cut through my yard. And I'm like, oh, okay. But that was it. That's all it was. A field interview. And he's still doing whatever he's doing. It really wasn't a crime. But yeah, one thing I did the next day, I talked to my neighbor and I said, hey, when I get my fence repaired, we're going to put up no trespassing, and we're going to post no trespassing. And also with our city is that you have to have a trespassing letter on file. Okay, so even if you post up signs that say no trespassing, you had to have a trespassing letter on file with the police department so that the police can enforce your no trespassing provisions of your property. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much what it was. So I got to not only see it from a law enforcement perspective, but from a civilian perspective, it's just trespassing. And as I was in patrol, when people call and say, hey, someone's come through my yard, this person trespassed and they won't leave, it's like, okay, you have to give them notice. You have to post signs. And even when I went to court, when certain officers would give out trespassing summonses or tickets, the judge would ask, like, no matter what direction this person came onto your property, would they be aware that it's posted no trespassing, but still ignore those signs to come onto the property to do whatever uninvited? Like the person who put them up had to testify. It couldn't just be the officer. So it's like no victim, no crime. Okay. So that takes us to Brunswick, Georgia. And like I said, disclaimer again, if you think I'm going to sound like Candace Owens, go ahead and give me my thumbs down now and leave my channel forever. Never come back. Okay. I had to get my emotions in check to talk about this. And I titled this video Fight Like Ahmaud because he fought his ass off. And for Candace Owens to want to say he's not a jogger, just all types of BS. And I'm trying not to say bad words too. It's bullshit. And I just see. But for somebody to be out jogging, continue jogging, stop to take a breather and check out, the wonders of a home being built. It's amazing to see, something like it could have been a land of nothing. Then someone's doing great work in designing the house. Then start running again. Somebody kind of just scared you off. It's like, okay, you keep running, not expecting anything else to happen. But then you kind of run up on a truck. How I speculate he was probably just running up to it to kind of get help because there was a car and someone loading a firearm coming after him. Stop to look for help. You say like, oh goodness, help. Then all of a sudden you see a shotgun come at you and then you fight for your life. Adrenaline. Let me know if you've ever been in a situation where your adrenaline was through the roof. It was real, fight or flight. Let me know if you had a situation like that. But then to also fight someone with a firearm, with someone who is coming after you with a firearm, and you fight for your life. That's why I'm putting it right here. I titled this video, Fight Like Ahmaud, being a hard target. The only other thing that would have been great is if our brother had some other form of self-defense. That would have been absolutely great. However, he used what he had to, give himself some extra seconds of life. He did not go down as a punk. He did not take a knee. He did not put his hands together and pray that they would leave him alone. No, he did exactly what any person who was confronted with a shotgun to do. And he didn't even practice. He didn't have any training, as far as we know, any training in what to do if you're unarmed and confronted with a firearm. He did exactly what he was supposed to do, and that was to have a warrior mentality. One thing that I wanted to clear up too is I drove through that area a lot. I spent a lot of time over there. I know the area of Brunswick, it's an hour north of Jacksonville and like an hour south of Savannah. The media wants to make it seem like it's so close to Atlanta. It's not. Like, I think the drive from Atlanta to Brunswick is like 4 hours. I could be wrong. It's a while because I just drove to Augusta and that's like 2 hours. Georgia's huge, but it's not near Atlanta at all. It's on the water. It's right by the Navy submarine base, St. Mary's, all that. It's over there. And so yeah, what we saw on film is actual fight or flight before our eyes. That's fight or flight. We always talk about fight or flight, fight or flight. Some people never feel that. They never experience that, but we got a chance to see it. And for me, I've been in tons of situations where you're like fighting for your life. I've been shot at. I've been in terrible fights, just about anything you can imagine, car accidents. So my adrenaline is like really weird, so I know what it feels like to fight through tunnel vision, but in his situation, I've been shot at, but I've never stared down the barrel of a firearm, and that's what he did, and he had to fight through that. Candace Owens and anybody else who who want to come out and say burglary, he burglarized that house, he went into that house, and stupid stuff like that. The freaking house didn't have no damn doors on it or anything to keep people out. It was open, okay, open. And that's usually what happens when, you know, your home is getting built or you're having some kind of work done to your house. My property, when I was getting a new roof put on, as an agreement, the company put a yard sign in my front yard to advertise who was doing the work so that people can stop by and see and inquire, get a phone number. Some people even stop to say, hey, you know, are you hiring? Because when it comes to construction and stuff like that, you have people who are day laborers who are looking for, you know, quick employment to help out and do some stuff like that. That's completely normal, but there was no trespassing, no victim, no crime. The owner did not call the police. The owner didn't post up no trespassing signs. No one involved did not have any ownership of that property. It was not up to them to go and pursue anybody. Had I been the police officer, let's say I was still in patrol, had I been the police officer who was dispatched to that area, okay, suspicious person, okay, on this property. What's the worst that can happen? People go in there and steal copper, whatever. It's a property crime. We're going to get the information. And guess what? When the owner, the person who is the victim, makes a report and gives a statement, and then what the investigators do is go to the local recycling place and find out who cashed in copper. It's a property crime. That property crime. The insurance company will take care of that, okay? And then you go and do your charges, and they get restitution and do it that way. But nowhere in there is it stated that you know, received the death penalty for that. There was cameras already on the property, meaning they were expecting people to come in and look around. Maybe the cameras were installed to make sure that no one come in there and spray paint or, you know, squat or whatever, or to make sure that the construction company is doing their job, reporting every day, or probably documenting how the home comes along. But there was no gates, nothing that says no trespassing, no hard hat only area, nothing. And also too, when you look at the video of what they allege is brother Ahmaud going onto the property, he enters through the front of the house. He's not going around back. He's not opening up windows. He walks right in the front. I don't see what is kind of suspicious about that. I don't. Then what was another point I had? It's just, and then somebody comes up and walks over to kind of confront him. We don't know what that exchange was. It's okay. You probably scared him. He's like, well, damn, let me go since people want to act a fool. And he goes back on his run in the middle of the street. He's not hiding behind bushes. He's not running across anybody else's yard. He's in the middle of the street. Yet we have this car that is trailing him. If you listen to the video, you can hear that person loading a weapon. You can hear that in the video. You can hear it. But then I posted this on Instagram about a week ago. I was still in my emotions at that time because as I was listening, I'm like, it sounded like 3 shots from at least 2 different weapons. That's what I heard. I heard something else. And then there was an article, but it was posted. But then when I went back to the link, it went to something else. It was saying that investigators were waiting to see the angle, like which angle was the fatal shot. And I'm like, hold on, which angle was the fatal shot? That instantly clicked in my head, like, was there more than one weapon fired at him? Because they're talking about the angle of it. Of course, you see him struggling over, so you would see what was ever in that shotgun. But they said, we're waiting to see which angle the fatal round came from. And I can't find it. I should have screenshot it, but I didn't. But I'm like, hold on. There was more than one person shooting at him? Like I said, I wasn't there, and of course, I don't have the technology to pick apart a video the way like a forensic investigator would, or someone that that works in, videography and stuff like that. I don't have it. But I'm like, it sounded different, but that article disappeared. Um, but still, no one involved had an interest in that property. They were not the property owner. Even the property owners, they're kind of like, people can walk onto our property, and check it out. They're not pressing charge. They're not doing anything. If they cared about it so much, they would have gated it off. They would have posted no trespassing signs and did whatever they had to do to make trespassing enforceable. Also, too, what I'm speculating that happened with the McMichaels, okay? I've come in contact with odors in law enforcement, and they rarely stay abreast of case law, of current ways of law enforcement. What they want to go by is what they did in the good old days and got away with. And I've encountered officers who, like, their fathers were police officers, then they come on to be a police officer too. It's like they kind of serve with their last names. And I kind of speculate that's what's happening here, because also in communities, when there's a retired officer or someone who has retired from law enforcement or used to be, the neighbors will call them first and get them involved. And what I'm speculating that happened was that the neighbor that approached the home and the person that's suspected to be Ahmaud Arbery came out, I don't think their first call was to 911 or non-emergency. I believe their first call was to the McMichaels. The first question I would have being on scene is, why do you have a shotgun? I've said this before in other videos, most recently on Urban Farm Sisters channel about shotguns. I own a shotgun. My shotgun is for home defense. There's no holster for a shotgun. You can't conceal carry a shotgun. Only time I leave my house with my shotgun is if I'm going to the range. But your shotgun should never leave your house. That's what I'm saying, unless you're actively going hunting. And that's when I started using that terminology that they went hunting, because your shotgun shouldn't leave your house. And also, too, let me back up, because the police department allowed us to carry our personally owned shotguns on patrol. We just had to qualify and register serial numbers. So my shotgun, it went from my home to my patrol car, never leaving a firearm in my vehicle, because guess what? My trunk had a separate lock. Like, you couldn't unlock my trunk from inside the vehicle. You had to know how to do it. But I did not have like a rifle rack. So when I left the car, my rifle went in my home in my safe. So that's one thing. Speaking of firearms, why did you take a shotgun outside the house? Why? My shotgun didn't leave my car unless we were doing like crowd control, or a situation where we had our shield and we needed long gun coverage. So another thing too, so apparently this whole thing about there's been a string of break-ins and stuff like that. I talked about this when this incident happened, February 23rd. I arrived here in Georgia a week before. Shout out to everybody who watched my video of my road trip across country. Let me know if you watched it. And if so, if you haven't watched it, go ahead and check that out. So I arrived a week before. And I remember midweek, somewhere around like February, it was Valentine's Day. I think Valentine's Day was that Friday, I think. Yeah, that Friday maybe. And so the next week, it was around like the 18th or something like that. I was looking for a coat. And you even hear me say it in my video, I need a coat. It's cold as hell. I still didn't have a coat. It got down to the 20s. It got down to the 20s that weekend of February 22nd. That was a Saturday, because I had met up with Art Kathy, and shout out to Sister Art Kathy, subscribe to her channel. And I had met with her, and we had spent the day together with our sisters. And I remember when I was getting ready to go and meet her, I was scraping frost off my windshield. It was cold as hell that weekend. So, for a fact that people are in the house. No one is going to be out. So why would someone choose? And the 23rd was a Sunday. So why would anyone choose to break into someone's home or do anything illegal knowing that the neighborhood is concentrated? Everyone is at home. Plus, if you look at that video of the home under construction, there's a big white pickup truck next door to it. So apparently someone is home. So why would Brother Ahmaud choose to commit a crime with evidence that the area is populated, people are at home? He, in his mind, you could just sit here and think about it. When he went in there, he was totally comfortable with what he was doing. He wasn't doing it, going in there to do anything illegal, to make noise or nothing. He just went in there to see what was going on, take a breather, kind of look around. I mean, it was left wide open. But I'm gonna get back to this firearm thing. So we already dispelled the break-ins happening. And so the last reported break-in in Glenn County was apparently that of the McMichaels, of doing what? Leaving a firearm in a vehicle. You have got to be the worst person to leave a firearm in a vehicle and your vehicle gets broken into. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It does happen. I made a video about it, giving people tips on, how to stay safe, not to leave purses, anything you want to keep, don't leave it in the freaking vehicle. But for someone to have a law enforcement background, they keep bragging on it, law enforcement background, but you leave a firearm in a vehicle. You know what I'm saying? That makes absolutely zero sense. I've noticed, and this is not only my professional side, but also as a civilian, when I was a military spouse in Hawaii, there was a lot of insurance fraud happening, a lot of insurance fraud. If you notice from, I would say, let's go with Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, all the way up until like the 1st of January, you get a lot of people who make false police reports that they left $2,000 worth of Christmas gifts in the car, and all of a sudden it's stolen. I had a screenshot of one, and I think I still have it on my Facebook page, where somebody in Hawaii, because I live in military housing, they're like, I had $1,000 worth of gift cards left in my car. I went inside for 1 minute and came back out, and the gift cards were stolen. There's a lot of insurance fraud and false police reports that come out around that time. So I'm not saying that it was a false police report, but for someone to be in law enforcement for that many years and have that background and leave a firearm in your vehicle and it gets taken on January 1st, that says a lot. Okay, that says a hell of a lot. Then the other people who want to, it's so weird that when we have a victim of a crime, and you have people who want to go out of their way to justify means that you deserved it, that you had it coming. That's the stuff that really pissed me off. Especially with Candace Owens and different people, they're like, well, Brother Ahmaud Arbery had a criminal record. So, okay, what does that have to do with you? What does that have to do with him losing his life, being murdered? So you're going to sit up there and again play judge, jury, and executioner, and you don't know what's going on. I talk about this all the time. We are all $1 away from a felony. And the reason why I say that is because I've watched people, who maintain their innocence, but because they were running low on money or whatever case may be, they went ahead and accepted a plea that they didn't have to. I've seen people, get like a dishonorable discharge or something like that because they were fighting something and they just ran out of money, or they just ran out of energy to keep on fighting, So we're all $1 away. Our funds are limited. They know how much we make a year. They know, that they can drag out the process because their money is limitless. Okay. But yeah, I don't care about his record. I don't, because that it's really irrelevant. That could be you. That could be you. I'm really disappointed at those who really, celebrated what Candace Owens says, and just get into these debates. I don't know if they're getting into these debates to get views or because they're attention whoring. It's crazy. I'm like, wow, this is a really terrible thing because this could be any one of us. It could be any one of us. But I look at it where I salute Ahmaud Arbery because he fought. He fought until his last breath. He fought until his last breath. And we still have people here who are wanting to criminalize the victim. And that's what the media has been training us to do all this time. And to judge him by his appearance, he doesn't look like an avid runner. He's wearing a white t-shirt and khaki shorts. And I'm just because I just I engaged a lot of people to see what they had to say about that. I kept bringing up like check out his clothing. You know, I had a question about that just to see what people would say. But you can see it is evident. He ran from the house. He was jogging slowly in the middle of the street and then fought. I've been in fights where, oh my gosh, that fight feels like four freaking ever, and it's like 2 minutes. And I'm not a woman that's in the gym. I'm not a creatine head like that to where I can fight. But when your adrenaline is going and you're in the process, he stayed on his feet that whole time, and he didn't even have like how they call our duty belts a Batman belt or things like that. He had his personal defense, and he really worked it out. Let me go ahead and see a couple of comments. I kind of been rambling, so let me go ahead and collect my thoughts. So I just want to say, Captain PY2, thank you so much for letting me know about the volume. Like that was, I was going, so thank you. Daryl Caldwell, thank you for being here. Candace Owens, a troll and the shield for white supremacy. Very good points. Good afternoon. Daryl, um, the owner of the house said nothing was stolen or destroyed. No victim, no crime. That's what we always said. No victim, no crime. As soon as, like, we could have been dispatched, as soon as we established no victim, no crime, therefore that ends my legal reason for being there. I'm turned away. But the thing of it was, I'm speaking from the perspective of a police officer. He was not a police officer. What he should have did was, if you can keep eyes on him, you can, give a description, but you did exactly what I did in the beginning of this video, how I talked about. I gave a description, he's going that way. I had no reason to leave my property and pursue him. He was in my yard. Yes, okay, I didn't invite him, but let the police handle it. That's what you do. That's what you do. So you said they said he was wearing Timberland boots. Man, dudes in Cincinnati wear Timberland boots in the summer, okay? That was one thing that I was surprised about when I left to join the military and go somewhere else, that I know is that people don't wear Timberland boots, but dudes in Cincinnati wear Timberland boots all day in the summer. They run from the police. They wake up in Timberland boots. They hop fences. Like, that's the uniform of the day. And that was the thing too. He was kind of wearing the uniform of the day. Brothers wear a white shirt and khaki shorts all the time. And also too, we don't know what his financial situation was. So you expect him to have on Under Armour everything or whatever. He just wore what the hell he had. Leave him alone. Brother Daryl, you're gorgeous as hell, Tieesha. Thank you so much. Brother Kamal Johnson, finally get to see one of your lives. Thank you so much. Y'all subscribe to Brother Kamal. I love your videos up here out of California. So thank you. Did a Zimmerman. Absolutely. And it's like they purposely pursue you and want to sit here and cry victim when you defend yourself. If anything, I must say it's like Brother Ahmaud fought to his last breath. I just wish that he had something else, to kind of even the playing field. Even, I talk about self-defense and personal defense all the time. Also, to head over to my website, timonics.shop, to check out the personal defense options I have over there. I have more on the way, because this situation, it just really put something on my mind, because I'm like, okay, what if I'm out, and I showed you guys the holster yoga pants and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, okay, there was a reason why, I was putting this information out, to put these different options out. If anything, I'm not marching. I'm not doing anything. I'm not jogging for justice. I'm not doing any of that. Shout out to brother Chris Miller that put that out. I'm not doing any of that, because what is it going to do? What is it going to do? If anything, I would say what brother Ahmaud showed us was to be a hard target. Okay, be a hard target. There are situations where, yes, you may need a firearm and use it, lawfully to defend yourself. The Second Amendment gives us that, to defend ourselves. I've talked about everything on here about different carry conceal options. There's a company here in Atlanta called Thick Skin that makes fashionable ballistic vests. Go check them out. I had ordered one from them. I did a review on it. Great company. Go check them out. Thickskin.com, and I'll type that in because it's spelled different. Thick Skin. Check them out. I have their video on my channel as well. But yeah, but then there's also times where you can kind of, stand firm and let your mouthpiece carry you. But apparently, I mean, obviously in brother Ahmaud's situation, they were seeking blood. They were seeking blood. You can tell. For someone who has a background in law enforcement, I must tell you, every time I've had to use force, even when I've had my worst fights, like I've showed you, I have scars all over my arms, because it seems like my fights always happen when I had on short sleeves. So I got scraped on the sidewalk and everything. Once you get finished using force to effect the arrest, you stop. You have to comfort that person and, get them the aid they need. I remember it was one time I had to use pepper spray or OC spray to effect an arrest of a fighting suspect. I had to pepper spray her. Next thing you know, I pepper sprayed her. And then pepper sprayed her, and she was naked fighting. The next thing you know, she was screaming that her pussy was burning, and I had to, of course, you automatically call the medics. Well, the medics were there. They had to flush it out because she was fighting all of us. But then she screamed, my pussy is burning. So I had to take her to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? You have to comfort them, and that's still a person. The way they let our brother fall to the ground and then walk away like they was going back to the truck to, cut the head off and hang it up on the fucking wall. That was ridiculous. No care for his life. Just walk away like they fucking ending credits in the movie. There was no care at all. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. Exactly. But then, like I said, being a hard target, got to be a hard target, but also too being well versed in the law where you live. Okay. But also too, with me, with different situations, I run situational awareness. This may be a new term for many people, but situational awareness. You always have to be aware of what's going on. And the reason why this incident hit me so hard, because this is the reason why I stayed in the house. When I was in Washington, I'm like, I'm not running, because I already got that vibe that something was wrong. I got the vibe that either it would be meth heads bother me, and it was, because each time I went out somewhere, they just pop out of nowhere bothering me. But also too, I was like, there's wild animals, there's freaking coyotes, and what else was out there? Coyotes. There was a cougar that attacked somebody out there in Washington. But I'm just like, you know what? Situational awareness. So if anything that I want you to think about, no, I did not spray her person. No, I sprayed her face. I sprayed her face, and then the medics had poured the bottle of water on her face, and it ran down. And yeah, she said it was burning, and so I take her to the hospital and get her cleaned up. So I'm not laughing, but yeah, that happened. So yeah, was one of my wild tales you may read about. I don't know, but I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. But yeah, situational awareness. Think about what's the worst can happen. My son and I, we take walks all the time, and I'm like, hey, come with me. But we talk about, like, if this happened, and this happened, if this happened, want to do this. You have to have your pre-planned responses. And I know that we can't, see into the future. Although some of us may have tarot cards, but we still can't see into the future. But you have to run these scenarios through your mind. What's the worst that can happen, and to make sure that you are prepared for it and you're comfortable enough to react in it. like I said, not every situation will require a use of force. It may require exactly what Elder Neely Fuller says, just, you know, not fleeing, not fighting, you know, and really, just acting accordingly. One thing that I tell myself every day and it's a quote from Neely Fuller Jr., is to not let anyone be more courteous than me. Never, ever. But then if that switch happens to flip and I have to, defend myself, defend who I love, what I love, things that I have, then I will do so appropriately. But, you know, always just be like a prisoner of war. And I'm sure that our brother, he could have not have imagined that he would lose his life that day, just doing something as innocent as jogging, working out, and also, checking out a home under construction, just seeing the wonderful wonder that is. But you can definitely tell that this was his regular routine. And I bring up the temperature of that area for a reason, because like I said, it was approximately, I think, around 60 degrees across Georgia in the middle of the day. It was about 60 degrees because I was at the spa during that time, and I had went outside of my car. And Art Kathy can vouch for this. I ran out to my car to get something, but I was wearing the towel from the spa, and I was cool. But for someone to run in breezy weather that has a chill to it, that takes training, that takes endurance. Because let me know if y'all go out and run in the cold, you feel it all up in here. So, and also too, he was dressed appropriately. When you're out running, doing cardio, you sweat. And with him, he's away from his home. You don't want to be carrying around layers. So he was dressed appropriately. So Candace Owens and whoever else has a problem with that, they can just go straight to hell. And that's really all I got to say about that. Again, I just want to remind everyone to really just be a hard target. We have to deprogram from allowing the media to give us these emotional, I don't want to say a bad word, but toying with our emotions like that. You have to yes, it's when you see someone lose their life on film, it's not a movie. And that's one thing that messes me up, because a lot of us are really desensitized. We think, okay, this happens, go to the next episode. No, this is real people. These are real people, and you should feel something when you see anyone lose their life, especially on video. Okay, I will admit, some of my coworkers, had got shot and stuff, and times where I was shot at and got into really bad fights. I went to counseling for that. That really messes you up. And for someone to say, "Oh yeah, I'm fine," and go right back to work or to go on with their life, that's someone who has serious problems. So yeah, I even look back on what was that, 2016? I think that was 2016, when within a weekend we saw um what was his name, Alton Sterling and brother Philando Castile lose their life on social media. That still bothers me to this day, where I don't go out on the 4th of July. I don't participate in anything like that, because it's just crazy. It really is. Yes, it is a form of PTSD. And, PTSD does not just happen because of deployment or anything like that. Okay. Too Black for You says Atlanta, Georgia stay high all year long. Nah, bruh. I said, bruh, my son is affecting me. He called me bruh the other day. I'm like, how did I go from mama to mommy to mama to mother to bruh? So now I'm just bruh. Now I'm saying it. But no, hot Atlanta is not hot Atlanta all year long. Georgia gets hot, but it's not hot Atlanta all year long. But yeah. So I hope that I've done our brother justice, because as a mother, I have a son, I have a brother, I have a father, I have uncles, I have cousins, I have friends, I have, I love us. So to see this happen, it definitely did affect my heart, and I wanted to come from a place where I am level-headed and can speak about this and be effective, and not from a place of emotion or destructive or following what the crowd wants us to do, which is victimize or criminalize the victim and just be so detached and desensitized to a human being losing their life, fighting for their life. Put yourself in his shoes. And also, too, all of us are 1 second to $1 of being the next hashtag or name across something. Okay, so I don't want to start crying. I don't want to do any of that. But I'm happy that everybody came here to listen and to really, have a place to share this collectively. And those of us who are like-minded, we are. Okay. So if you haven't already, hit the like button. Those who gave me a thumbs down, I'll make another video and I'll keep, doing these videos just so you can come back and give me more, because the view is a view. And if you stayed to watch the end, thank you for helping the analytics so my video can be recommended and suggested throughout YouTube. And you know my name, so thank you so much. Go ahead and become a subscriber. Check out my other social media platforms. I'm on Instagram. If you want to send me a message or inbox, you can email me at Tieesha.Essex@gmail or info@TieeshaEssex.com. Or you can also go to my self-defense website, Timonics.shop, and you can head over to the shop and see what personal defense gear I have over there for you. Everyone has showed great support in pre-ordering their belly band holster. They're expected in stock on the 25th, but I'm expecting them sooner. And as soon as they go out, everyone who has placed the order, I'm sending them out to you, and the price will increase for once they are in stock, because it's such a hot item. Okay, but thank you to everybody for supporting. If you have any questions, go ahead and contact me, email, leave a comment, and I will see you on the next video. Continue to leave your comments. Like I said, thank you to everybody who was here with me live. Thank you to my moderators, Brother Daryl, who just became a moderator today. Brother Kareem, I saw you. Sister Cassandra, thank you. And I'm just happy that I got this off my chest. And so hopefully I've contributed something constructive. And I will see you again with another great video, whether it's a live, I'll give you some notice, or have your notifications on to see my next upload. So thank you again for allowing me the space to unload what I had in my heart. And, my heart goes out to our brother, Ahmaud Arbery, who fought like a warrior, who fought to his last breath. To the family, stay strong. Don't give in. Don't forgive. The moment you say forgive, I'm just out. Okay. No forgiveness, but to also anything in the future, don't be so quick to criminalize the victim. Okay. Wait until all the facts come out. Facts over feelings. Forget your emotions. You handle those, but you also have compassion. Okay. Like I said, I appreciate everybody being here, and I will see y'all on the next video. Okay. Good night.